everyone, welcome to a special edition of Pearls of Parmadice. If you're new here, my name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Parma, Ohio, where I live with my husband Mason, all of our yarn and all of our books. I also live with my in-progress book snake Zipper, and he is helping me track what I read in 2025. On my regular knitting podcasts up until this past month, up until my April podcast, or early May, whenever it was, I had been doing my book updates during the podcast episodes. However, Zipper wanted to do separate episodes that were just about the books and just about him. He's quite full of himself. So that is what we're going to do for the rest of 2025. I'm hoping to do these every month. We will see how that goes. But yeah, so March and April are combined. I'm not doing one for January and February. You can watch my regular podcasts from, that time to get my reading updates from then. But we're going to start now. March, we're going to go through really quick. I don't know what I'm doing here. We're just kind of going to do this. I don't really have a set format other than I'll tell you guys, I'll put a picture of the cover up so that you can see how the cover matches to the yarn that I used for the segment that represents the book. I'll tell you who, the title, the author, how many pages or how many hours the book is, if it was an audiobook, how many stars I gave it, and when I started and finished. I will be completely honest with you all. I am reading so much this year, and the way that my brain works is I kind of read a book and I might talk about it with several people, and then it leaves my brain and I'm kind of on to the next one. So bear with me. I don't remember all the details of these books without going back and looking and, refreshing. So I did try to do a little refresh before I came on here. But bear with me. You would think I do work at a library if you're new here too. And you would think I would be better about talking about books, but very little of my job involves talking about books right now. I'm working to change that, but so I'm working on bringing more book talk into my job, but what I do doesn't involve a lot of book chat at the moment. So anyways, all that to say, if you're looking for a synopsis of these books or really eloquent reviews or something, this is not the place for that. This is just my personal thoughts based on what I can remember. I have read a ton of books. I'm in May now when I'm recording, and I'm close to the end of May, and I've read a ton of books this month. So a lot of these are really rusty for me, but we're gonna get going. So if you watch my regular podcasts, y'all know March was a devastatingly difficult month for me. So I managed to finish exactly one book, and that was The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Lori Gilmore. It is part of a series. It's a romance. It's pretty light and sweet and warm and fun, and just made me feel good. I liked it. I gave it 4.25 stars. It was 371 pages long. I did read that in print. And I started that February 27th and finished it March 11th. Some of the hardest days I've had in many years, and probably, and one of the hardest days of my whole life was in there. I still managed to get that done in not too long a time. So that was really great. Quick synopsis. This is a book. I don't know if they're really numbered. And I can't think of what the name of, Dream Harbor. It's part of the Dream Harbor series, or I don't know if there's more to the title, but I believe they all take place in Dream Harbor. And the first book is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I read that, I believe, last year and really liked it. and I'm not a romance person, but I might be starting to be. I'm reading more of that. But anyways, this follows Hazel and Noah, who are two of the side characters from the Pumpkin Spice Cafe book, in their own little romance story. And it's just really lovely. I love this town. The setting is great. It's really sweet. It's a romance. It's a little predictable, but really good. Honestly, I don't know why I gave it 4.25 stars. I really liked it. If I had to guess, I'm not into smut. It's not really my thing. So maybe it had to do with that. I don't know. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Moving on to April. So the first book I finished in April was Hazards of Time Travel by Joyce Carol Oates. That one I did on audio, and it was 8 hours and 49 minutes long. I gave it 3.75 stars. I started it January 29th and finished it April 5th. So, yeah, it was not a fast-moving book. It is pretty dystopian, and basically it follows this girl who decides to, oh my gosh, the whole point is the book snake. I'm just all over the place. I'm sorry. We're working on it, and I'm not editing. Cinnamon Bun Bookstore is this guy, which is Malabrigo something, Hell Devil, and the colorway is Chameleon. Okay, back to Hazards of Time Travel, which is this one. I'm sure this is Fangirl Fibers. Could not tell you the color. Anyways, Hazards of Time Travel. It's dystopian. It follows this girl. She basically she's at her high school graduation. She's living in another time, long time from now, in what used to be the United States and is now not really that. And she's asking questions. And you're not supposed to ask questions in this dystopian society. So she's essentially kidnapped and exiled to another place. But what it is like I want to say, it's been a minute, 1959, like Wisconsin, to this university. So she is both learning to live in this other time, and she can't tell people she's in exile, but some of the people there are, and some of them aren't. And, yeah, it was really interesting. It was not very fast paced. The writing was good. It just wasn't quite for me. And some of the themes just hit a little too close to home with the current reality of living in the United States in 2025. So it was a little much for me personally. Maybe if I'd read this at a different time, or if I lived elsewhere, then maybe that would be different. But it was fine. It was all right. Would I recommend it? Maybe. If you are somebody who likes dystopian books, give it a shot. If you like reading about that kind of thing, if it hitting close to home wouldn't bother you, then yeah, by all means. If you like the Hunger Games and things of that nature, this is probably for you. But I kind of felt the same way about the Hunger Games. I liked it, fine, but it wasn't my favorite. All right, moving on. Okay, the next one. The next one I could do an entire episode just on this book. It's Navy Blues by Debbie McComber. I did not realize this was book 2 of a series, but I guess they're all kind of a series, but standalone, so it didn't matter. It was 6 hours and 4 minutes long. My husband and I listened to it together on audio. I gave it 1.25 stars. We finished it in like less than 24 hours. Started at April 5th, finished April 6th. I am going to pause here. Wildly unhinged. Like, this was written, full disclosure, the cover is like a newer edition of the cover. And oh man, I think it was written in like 1990 or 1989. And I recognize it was a different time. We thought about the world differently. We wrote our romance books differently, but this book made me want to reach through and go, Debbie, are you okay? Are you okay writing this? Like, wow, it just, I will say it kept us listening, but it's about Steve and Carol, and Steve and Carol got divorced because of a misunderstanding and a breach of trust that actually never happened. And Carol is like in her early 30s and wakes up one day and she's like, well, I'm not getting any younger and I want to have a baby. And I guess I want Steve to be the father. That seems like a good idea. Steve's in the Navy, by the way. I'm going to seduce him to get me pregnant, to have his baby because I want a baby. So she like looks at the calendar and she's like, okay, he'll be home for Christmas. So we got to hit this window when I'm ovulating and he's home for Christmas. So she invites him over on Christmas Eve and seduces him. And it doesn't work. She doesn't get pregnant. And she's pretty bummed. She's been eating like nothing but sweet potatoes because she thinks sweet potatoes are like nature's fertility drug or something. I don't know. Unhinged. We did look it up, and I guess there is a little bit of scientific something behind that, but it is not what Carol's thinking. So she's like, dang it, that did not work. Looks at her calendar, finds out when Steve's gonna be home, and figures out that he doesn't leave till also, like, I don't know what's going on with her cycle because none of these times really added up to me, but whatever, Carol, you do you. So she's like, I gotta make this happen one more time before he leaves. So she grabs a random button out of her drawer and goes to his apartment and is like, is this your button? And somehow this works. And that time it works. So she ends up pregnant and Steve leaves on his nuclear submarine for several months. It just gets more unhinged from there. Like, she's seeking advice and stuff from Steve's younger sister, who, if I did my math right, is like way too young to be giving her any advice about any of this. And apparently she and the younger sister work at Boeing. But previous to this, like, Carol was selling shoes or something in a sporting goods store. So I don't really know how you go from that to like being at Boeing. I don't understand. It might be why the planes are not working. They're hiring like Carol and Lindy is the sister-in-law who I think, based on, if I did my math right, based on numbers in the book, is like maybe 19. I'm not really sure what's happening here. Lindy's got her own problematic sidebar storyline. And then like, so Steve comes home and starts like stalking Carol. It's like a whole wildly unhinged thing. Listen, it was not that great of a book, but if you are looking for something just for entertainment that will make you go, what is wrong with them? If you want to feel better about your life, I would highly recommend it. It actually like kept me super, super interested. We could not stop listening to it, but wow, it was unhinged. Debbie, I don't know what was happening like 35 years ago, but I really hope you're okay. I've read other things by her, and this was, wow, totally different. Yeah. So anyway, there was that one. All right, moving on. My next book is Talking to Strangers by Fiona Barton. That was 400 pages long. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I started it April 4th and finished it April 11th. This one, I don't remember a ton of details from. I do remember I really liked it. It is told from 3 perspectives, and there's three different women. Their stories are all intertwined, and you don't totally know how until the end, which is really, really great. The writing is really, really nice. The storyline is great. Basically, this woman is found brutally murdered in a park. And you have the detective and a reporter who are both working together to solve the crime, and then a mother, and you don't quite know how they're all connected. And yeah, it was really good. It is set in England, I believe. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. If you like twisty thrillers and multi-perspective books, I would recommend that. Okay, next up was The Blue Hour by Paula Hawkins. That one was 303 pages. I gave it 4.5 stars. Started it April 11th, finished it April 14th. This one was also pretty good. It had really nice writing. It was a little bit of like an artsy kind of book. Basically, there is this reclusive artist that lives on, if I'm remembering right, this little island off the coast of Scotland. And it's only accessible during low tide every day. So there's only a small window of time where you can get to and from this island each day. And the artist has died. And this estate or museum, I'm a little unclear, was left her unclear. I just don't remember. It's been a minute. Over a month. And she left them all of her art, but they know they didn't get everything. And not only do they get her art, they're supposed to get anything that has to do with her creative process. So that means journals that have inspiration, things like that. So this guy from the art place keeps getting sent out to go get this stuff and go through this stuff and see what they can find, because they know they're missing pieces. But also, her husband had disappeared mysteriously like over 20 years ago. So there's also this other mystery of like, where is her husband? What happened? And does her art or journals hold secrets to that? So if that sounds like your thing, give it a read. I thought it was pretty good. Next up was, I think, my favorite book for all of April. And I didn't expect this at all. A friend recommended it to me. And the book is Frankie by Graham Norton. Yes, the talk show host, Graham Norton. He can write. Who knew? Yeah, this was really good. 304 pages. And I gave it my full 5 stars. I started it April 14th. Finished it April 17th. And this book, I have not fallen in love with characters in a book the way that I fell in love with them in such a long time. I am realizing that I am not pointing to the yarn at all. I'm going to do that at the end because I think that will go better. And then we'll just flash the covers again. We'll do that. That'll work better. I'm just on a roll and we're going to go with it. Yeah, I loved every one of these characters. It's about this woman named Frankie, and she has had a fall and basically needs a caretaker to come in and just sort of be there and help her with little tasks and things like that. So this young Irish man takes the job, and this job is in, I want to say London. It's definitely in England. And Frankie is also Irish. So Frankie hates the idea of having this caretaker, but they realize that they're both from Ireland. I believe they're from the same area in Ireland, and they bond over this. And Frankie begins to tell him pieces of her life story. And it is fascinating. She goes from moving from post World War II Ireland to 1960s New York and more art things, ending up kind of in the art scene and opening a restaurant. And it's just walking through her life with her. And so you kind of start at the end of her life, because you start at this point where she's elderly, she's fallen and all of that. And then you go back to the beginning, and it's just so beautiful to watch the friendship between these two blossom. And then there's a third friend that comes in, and it's just one of those books, like, literally, I laughed, I cried, and I felt really sad when it was over because I felt like I had just said goodbye to some really lovely friends. So if that sounds like your kind of thing and you really like books with lovable, delightful characters, I would recommend. Okay, we've got 3 more books to get through. All right, so next up, The Story She Left Behind by Patty Callahan Henry. This one was 339 pages. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I completely forgot on the last 3 books to write down the dates. So I don't know how long this one took me. But this one, my favorite piece of this book was the setting. Patty knows how to write a good setting. Oh my goodness. You start in one of the Carolinas, South Carolina maybe? I don't know. One of the two. On the coast. And she describes it so beautifully. But then you end up in London. And I'm going to tell you a little more about it. But you end up in London. And it is, I want to say this one was maybe the 50s too. And it was, I know there's a name for the event. I can't think of it. But it was basically like the smog. If you watch The Crown, you know what I'm talking about. London was cloaked in smog. And that doesn't sound like it's like that big of a deal. But it was horrible. Tons of people died from like car accidents, from breathing in. The hospitals were overwhelmed. I mean, you couldn't see in front of your face. Like, it was really, really horrible because Churchill was using basically really, really horribly cheap, low-grade coal because of rations and all of that post-World War II. And yeah, it was really bad. So anyways, then they end up in the English countryside to get away from it, and just, it's lovely. They end up by Beatrix Potter's house, and like, it's just, the scenery was so good. The story was pretty great too. We had some good characters. Basically, it follows a woman whose mother had disappeared when she was a young child. And her mother had been an author. She had published her one and only book at the age of 12, which was a massive success, hugely successful book. And was in the process of writing a sequel. But she wrote it in like her own language. And it's all about words and language and creating words for things that don't have words, and creating meaning for yourself through made up words, and is really, really, really cool. But anyways, her mom disappears. Her mom takes off one night. Nobody knows what happened. They assume that some people think she committed suicide. Some people think that she's just run off somewhere. But it's this woman who now has a child. It's her quest. She has always had so many questions about her mom. She wants to be able to translate the sequel, but her mom took the dictionary of made up words with her, so she doesn't have that piece until one day she gets a call from a man in London who has found the dictionary among his late father's things. And that starts her journey over to London and her quest to learn about her mom and find herself and create her own story with her daughter. And it was really, really great. It was a really beautiful story. My only issue with this is I am close with someone who did, actually more than one person, who did experience parental abandonment. And while I don't think she handled it poorly, but there were some emotional layers missing surrounding that, and a little bit, I don't know, there was a piece of that was missing, if that makes any sense. There was a little bit of, I didn't feel the anger and the hurt and the, of a that has been present in the people that I know who have had parents leave them and abandon them at an older age, at not when they're like an infant necessarily, although there's a lot of hurt and anger there too. But yeah, there just wasn't that to the extent that, I don't know. I felt like that piece was missing. It wasn't poorly handled, but I felt like there could have been a little more emotional layering. Anyway, next up, The Housemaid's Wedding by Freda McFadden. This one, 74 pages, shortest book of the month, may end up being the shortest book of the year. I gave it 3.5 stars. I read this in an hour, I think, and it was fine. It was a fine book. I actually read it the same day I finished The Story She Left Behind, so there's that. It was fine. It's just a little novella. If you've read The Housemaid's Secret, whatever the Housemaid is watching, I think is the third one. If you've read that series by Freda McFadden, I found it fun to go back and visit those characters again. It was just nice, like popping in to just say hi to a friend. But like, and I like Freda McFadden's books. I know they are not like super well written at all. That's not what I'm there for. I am there for quick thriller, keep it moving. I'm there for just consumption. I just want to read, and I want it to be fun for me. And yeah. And her books are what I find fun. I didn't think this was a great story though. It was fine. But it was not very twisty. It was a little predictable. Like, it was fine. I kind of felt like, she wrote this book because she was like, well, people want me to write the wedding book, so here we go. I'll write you a wedding book. Okay. Are you happy? That's kind of how I felt. It was just fine. It wasn't, it was fine. It was fine. It was fine. And last but not least, we've got another Freda McFadden book. We've got, we have sirens outside. Hang on a second. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. There was a literal police chase outside my house just now. So that was very exciting. Yeah, like a whole thing. It was a whole big thing. And, I don't really know what happened, but, it apparently is kind of a whole big thing. So anyway, there are still a lot of, police vehicles outside my house with some lights going. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see that at all, but, yeah, so that was pretty, not what I really expected. Okay. So we're going to try and finish up here. My final book, I don't remember if I talked about it at all. I don't think I did. It's another Freda McFadden book. It is called The Perfect Son, and it is 308 pages. I gave it 4.75 stars, and that was my last book of April. So it was really good, very twisty. It is about this woman named Erica, and she finds out that this girl that her son knows has gone missing. And she kind of suspects that maybe her son had something to do with it. And the whole book kind of is it's just very twisty. If I'm remembering, I think it was a multi-perspective between her and her son, I think. But I could be wrong. I don't totally remember. I'm sorry. I'm very, very distracted. There are police walking around my yard looking for evidence at the moment, so it's just a lot. So anyways, yeah, that one, I really liked it. I gave it 4.75 stars. It was pretty good. So yeah, if you like twisty, did he do it, did he not sure books, That's a good one. All right, so let's finish up the yarn and then we'll wrap this up. I don't know if it'll be the same format next month. Probably similar. Maybe not a police chase in the middle of it though, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen here in Parmadice. So this is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Lori Gilmore. This is Hazards of Time Travel by Joyce Carol Oates. This is Navy Blues by Debbie McComber. This one, I know for a fact what it is. It is Fangirl Fibers in the colorway Under the Sea. It was a Disney monthly yarn club from I think 2022. This one is some kind of red acrylic yarn, and I'm holding the fingering weight double. This one, however, is DK. And this one is, I think it's Talking to Strangers. Yes, Talking to Strangers by Fiona Barton. This one is The Blue Hour by Paula Hawkins, probably another Fangirl Fibers. This one is Frankie by Graham Norton. I could not find a great colorway that really reflected that. This one, I believe, is Tina's Twisted Fibers in the colorway. I don't remember the colorway. This one is definitely a Fangirl Fibers colorway, and it is, gotta flip, The Story She Left Behind by Patty Callahan Henry. This one is also a Fangirl Fibers. Can you tell what's in my scrap basket? And that one is The Housemaid's Wedding. This one is Nitpick Stroll, and this represents The Perfect Son by Frida McFadden. Housemaid's Wedding, also by Frida McFadden. So there we are. Zipper is getting long, and he's glad that he got to spend some time with you guys and show off his stripes. So you can see he's looking pretty flat. He wants us to weave in more ends so that he has more to eat. So better get on that. All right, well, thank you for sitting through this incredibly chaotic episode. This was not how I expected my book sync updates to go, but this is what we got tonight. So real life, guys. This is real life. Anyways, I hope that you all have a great rest of your day wherever you are. I hope that there are no police chases in your neighborhood today. And yeah, anyways, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time, friends. Keep reading and support your local library. Bye.